welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about my 6 least favorite books from 2019. I decided to pick 6 of my least favorite books and talk about them with you today. I figured there were 12 months in the year, so my 6 least favorite books was probably a good number. This list is in no particular order, so let's get started. The first book I want to talk about is The Abduction by John Grisham. This is the second book in the Theodore Boone Kid Lawyer series, and I had read the first book a while back. I read this during a Dewey's 24-hour readathon, and I was deeply disappointed in this book. Basically, it was about his best friend getting abducted, and he is the only one who can save her. And this is a middle grade book, and I found it ridiculously unbelievable to be a middle grade book. It sounded like John Grisham was like, middle grade market? I'd like to get on that one. And he tried to write a middle grade and completely failed. It is completely unbelievable that this kid could accomplish anything that happens in this one. And so this one ends up on my list. And I think I forgot to add this as a series that I dropped this year, but I ended up dropping this series this year. Another book on my list was actually my least favorite book from the month of January, and it has just stuck with me throughout the entire year, and that was Slayer by Kiersten White. This was my most disappointing book from 2019, and this is basically after the Buffyverse, and after the Buffy television show ends, what happens. And I was so disappointed about this. Basically, it was said that you didn't have to have Buffy knowledge to go into this book, but then there was info dump if you didn't have Buffy knowledge, but then there was knowledge if you did have Buffy knowledge, and so it made the writing style in this one very clunky. And then there was Buffy hate, so if you didn't know who Buffy was, it wouldn't have made sense, and if you did, you were kind of left feeling kind of upset about it, and it just overall was very disappointing and clunky, and it just was not a good time. Next was a book that I had actually gotten from one of my friends, and that was Grimm Lovelyrs by Megan Shepherd. This is basically a historical paranormal urban fantasy set in France. It was a very hard to grasp urban fantasy, but the plot and the characters were very flat, and it ended up having the bury your gaze trope, and no thank you on that. And so it ended up on this list, and I was very disappointed by it. Another book that stuck with me was A Hobbit, A Wardrobe in a Great War. This is by Joseph Lacotte. This is basically talking about how J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were influenced by the Great War in their writing. However, it was mostly speculation and the author self-inserting into this story, and it just felt like the author wanted to talk about himself and not the topic at hand, which was not what I was reading for. I wasn't reading for this man's personal life in reference to the Great War. I was reading for C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien's life in reference to the Great War, and this was just speculation, and I wasn't a fan of it, so ended up on this list. Next on this list was Aurora Rising by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I ended up reading this for one of the readathons that I participated in, where it was all month long, and this was my group's book, and I hadn't actually read it, and so I had to read it for my group, and I should have just picked a different book because I did not want to read this one originally. This was kind of me setting myself up for failure, and failure I got. I knew going in that I'm not standardly a space book person, and so I was kind of hesitant going into this one, and I ended up finding this one really confusing. The plot in this one was meh to me, and I felt that all of the characters who each got their own perspectives blended together, and it was unnecessary, and I was let down by this book, and I didn't understand what was going on, and so this book ended up on this list. And the last book that I want to talk to you about that was in my worst books of 2019 is Night Shift by Stephen King. This is a short story collection, and it doesn't really have a theme to it, which that's fine. I just kind of was hoping there was a theme going on with it. However, I was picking up this collection for a specific short story, but I was like, okay, we're gonna read the rest of the collection. The story that I wanted to read in the collection was Children of the Corn. I thought that one was the best one in the collection, but barely. I ended up giving this collection, when I read it, a very low rating due to the fact that there is a lot of it just felt like nothing was really going on, and it was overall very uninteresting for some of the stories, and fat phobia was rampant everywhere, and we do not stand fat phobia in this household. So So those are my most disappointing books of 2019. Have you read any of these books? Do your opinions differ from mine? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like what you saw here today, be sure to like and subscribe. I normally post videos on Wednesdays. Thank you so much for watching and have a nice day.